The overly made-up contestant asked Kohei to go out with her. Kohei mentioned that he didn't know her name. She introduced herself as Aina, a freshman at Umi University. Iori congratulated Kohei and wished them happiness. Just as Iori was about to leave, Kohei stopped him, asking why he was leaving him alone. Seeing Iori and Kohei arguing, Aina ran away. While the club members were drinking, Chiza suddenly approached Iori with a sharp look. Iori tried to explain that what he did on stage was to bring out Chiza's charm. Suddenly, Chiza said she owed Iori. Iori smiled happily because Chiza wasn't angry and even offered to buy him a pair of sexy underwear as thanks. It turned out Chiza handed him a large bottle of liquor to finish. Before Iori could finish his drink, he ran away because he couldn't handle it anymore. Iori sought refuge behind Azusa. Ryujiro asked if something had happened to Azusa that made her late. Azusa explained that a guy wanted to get close to her. That guy was Kudo, the captain of the Tinker Bell Tennis Club. Iori asked if Azusa was okay. Azusa recounted that she told Kudo to sign up for the male beauty contest, promising to cheer for him in the front row, and when Kudo signed up, she managed to escape. Shinji asked if Azusa would cheer for Kudo, but she said she wouldn't. Shinji was relieved Azusa was safe, and Ryujiro noted that Azusa was just in time for their meeting. Not long after, the members of the rugby club arrived for a drinking party with the diving club. According to Iori, this drinking party was even crazier than the last one. As Iori and Kohei went to get drinks, they noticed Aina sitting alone. Aina approached Kohei, leaving him confused as to why she was following him instead of joining the tennis club members. At that moment, Aina was rambling incoherently due to being extremely drunk. She confessed that the reason she had asked Kohei out was because she found him sexy, just like the reason she had joined the tennis club, because everyone there was sexy. She had thought that having a boyfriend would allow her to experience the college life she had always dreamed of, but instead, she ended up like this. Aina began crying loudly, saying that she had worked so hard, learning how to apply makeup, trying on clothes she would never normally wear, and doing things she did not want to do, only to become the butt of everyone's jokes. Iori assumed that the people Aina was referring to were from Tinkerbell. Kohei agreed, saying that if Aina wore makeup that thick, people would naturally think she was crazy. Aina protested, saying that they used to call her cute, but Kohei bluntly pointed out that they had actually been laughing at her. It turned out Aina already knew that. At first, she did not mind being treated like a joke as long as she had friends and could have fun. But after the drinking party following the contest, the Tinkerbell members had told her to go home because they had laughed enough at her expense. Aina realized that she never needed to try so hard to change because, in the end, no matter what she did, people would still laugh at her. And it was the Tinkerbell members who were mocking her. Iori stated that no one is always laughed at, nor is anyone always laughing at others, and he promised to show her something interesting. That night, the men's beauty contest began. The first contestant from the rugby club showed off his athletic physique. The next contestant was Kudo, the captain of the Tinkerbell Tennis Club. The audience cheered him on, suggesting that he had many fans. Kudo himself felt he was on a different level compared to the others. Next up was Kohei from the diving club, and the girls in the audience commented that he looked cute. Kudo was curious why Kohei was wearing a high school uniform. He admitted that Kohei seemed decent, but he was confident that he would be the one to win the contest. Suddenly, Kohei approached Azusa and asked her not to date Kudo. Instead, he asked her to date him. Kudo understood that Kohei was trying to attract attention that way, but he was irritated that Kohei had the audacity to use his name without permission. Kudo then approached Azusa and asked her to choose him instead. The audience eagerly waited to see whom Azusa would pick. Then Azusa reached out and took Kudo's hand. Kudo smiled and apologized to Kohei for how things turned out, but he believed that everyone was on their own level and that someone out there was a perfect match for Kohei. Suddenly, Kohei burst into laughter, mocking Kudo. It turned out that the Azusa who had chosen Kudo was actually Iori in disguise. Iori laughed, never expecting that he would turn out to be Kudo's perfect match. Kohei laughed as well, saying that Iori was on the same level as Kudo when it came to being a woman. At that moment, Iori from the Peek-a-Boo Diving Club officially entered the comedy contest. Just as Kudo was about to say something, Iori cut him off, teasing him by declaring that the captain had confessed his love to him. Kohei chimed in, saying that although it was painful, Kudo had to stay strong and he hoped that the two of them would stay together forever. Iori and Kohei then said in unison that they had laughed enough and told Kudo to go home. Iori had successfully demonstrated his point to Aina. The audience erupted into cheers and Azusa praised Iori and Kohei, saying that they had pulled it off. However, Chiza suddenly walked away. That night, the members of the diving club raised their glasses in celebration. Suddenly, Aina entered the room looking like she wanted to join them. Kohei handed her a bucket full of drinks to celebrate the party. He commented on how heavily Aina had done her makeup. Aina was shocked to see that Iori and Kohei could drink so much. Kohei explained that his body had been trained for it. The diving club members praised Iori and Kohei for their impressive drinking abilities. The next day, while working at the booth, customers started flirting with Chisa after learning that she had participated in the beauty contest. They scrambled to talk to her, and some even dared to grab her hand. Normally, Iori and Kohei would have immediately stepped in to help, but they were still unconscious from drinking too much. Before long, Shinji and Ryujiro arrived to drive away the pushy customers. Later that day, the winner of the contest was announced. Chisa had won the beauty contest, but she looked gloomy on stage. Shinji and Ryujiro were curious about why she seemed that way. Azusa explained that Chisa had only entered the contest for Iori and the others. However, instead of supporting her, Iori and Kohei had worked hard for Aina. On top of that, Chisa had been constantly hit on by guys because of the contest, and no one had stepped in to help her. That was probably what had made her angry. The host then asked Chisa who she would share her joy with. Smiling, Chisa replied that of course she would share it with her boyfriend Iori, who was currently passed out on the stage. The host was surprised that Chisa was dating such a perverted guy. Shinji realized that Chisa was using Iori as an excuse to reject other men. Azusa became curious about what they would do now that they were together.